Hi, I'm Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, and thank you for inviting me to speak at your 2020 Annual Meeting and Service Awards event, and to President Justin Fedor for your leadership and efforts, as well as to over 1,000 members who this society represents. I also want to congratulate your incoming President, Dr. David Page, and also recognize County Executive Ryan McMahon and Health Commissioner Dr. Gupa. The awards you're receiving today are so well deserved for your hard work on the ground in Onondaga County throughout this pandemic. The Onondaga County Medical Society and your members of physicians, residents, medical students have all truly answered the call to serve during these extraordinary times. As a Syracuse University grad, I was particularly proud of the way the Central New York medical community performed at the forefront of our public health response in helping lead the way in services, testing, and treatment here in New York. Your keynote, Dr. Stephen Thomas's vast experience at Upstate and his work on the vaccine trials for Pfizer is something every New Yorker is grateful for. When I held a roundtable with Dr. Thomas and the team at SUNY Upstate in the middle of the pandemic, I saw firsthand the saliva test developed there prior to its FDA approval. The results significantly expanded our testing efforts across the state and have been a valuable tool in doing pooled testing among our SUNY schools. When Governor Cuomo and I are constantly asked how we made literally hundreds of decisions on how to manage this pandemic, we have used the phrase doctors, medical experts, and scientists probably thousands of times. But it's true. Doctors have long been admired and appreciated by your patients and your community. But when you took your oath, whether it was 5 years ago or 65 years ago, none of you could have foreseen that you and your profession would be thrust into a once-in-a-century public health crisis, and that by simply seeing your patients, you could be endangering your own health and that of your loved ones. And you've seen or heard of colleagues in the healthcare field who become infected, even die, like former Central New Yorker Adeline Fagan, whose selfless story touched all of us. And for some of you, particularly those in hospital COVID units, you are working in the equivalent of a war zone. Some of you haven't been able to be with your loved ones and have had to take extreme precautions. But you and millions of healthcare workers across this great nation have stepped up and answered the call to treat others and save lives. Without selfless individuals like all of you willing to take that risk, our state and our nation would be positively devastated. I can't even imagine that scenario. So I know what you're going through is tough. I see and hear the frustration of doctors and nurses who do not understand why everyone doesn't take the simplest measures to protect their own health and the health of those in the medical community who are exposed every day. And yet, we need to call upon you once again. The success of our vaccination plan will depend on the willingness of a skeptical public to trust its safety. And I think it's fair to say that doctors are more trusted than politicians. So we're counting on your credibility to convince our reluctant patients and a reluctant public to get vaccinated as soon as it is available to them. That's how we'll ultimately win the war. But until then, to those of you on the front lines and those who continue your practices under these unprecedented times, I offer the gratitude of Governor Cuomo, myself, and 20 million New Yorkers. And finally, as a fellow upstater, I know it takes more than freezing weather, a tough college football season, or even a pandemic to keep us down. We are strong, we are tough, and we are fighters. Let's win this war together. Thank you.